So, talk to me about Wise Digital. So, you've got this company, and by the way, I've used your services, but I'd love for people to understand what it is that you do and why you're. Well, first of all, your business has grown leaps and bounds. You are, consistently growing every month, and it's not by accident. It's really by design and by the value that you offer. But I'd love to hear, just some of what you do, why you're growing, or even the clip that you're growing at, and the various awards you've won. You guys have won a ton of awards.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm lucky. This is my, you could say, third agency. It's the first agency I've owned where I'm the owner. I don't have any investors. I don't have any majority partners. So, I can do what's right for our clients, our employees, and more broadly, our partners as well. We have a lot of partners which are helping fuel a lot of the growth. So, the thing I learned in the first agency, Lightpost Digital, was we weren't offering enough products or services. We were offering a very small collection of products and services. And then, you start growing 10, 20% of your clients by leaps and bounds because they're the ones that are set up for that kind of, influx of business. And they start asking you for more and more services. And then you try and add on other stuff later. And it's like, well, you're just saying yes so that you don't lose their other business. And that was, that I think that was the tough area that Lightpost was in. Also, I had a partner who didn't agree with me all the time, and also we had investors that were fighting a lot of it. And I think when I went through the merger, I figured out a lot of the stuff that we were, remarkably bad at, that business was really good at, and then we were good at the stuff that they weren't good at. And so I think when we combined forces, I learned a lot about just how are we going to be like an A player across all these different disciplines? Because what I've come to realize in digital is that this is a really complicated ecosystem today. 5 years ago, 10 years ago for sure, you could, launch a website, do a little SEO work, and all of a sudden the phone starts ringing. Well, today it's more challenging. There's a lot more businesses in every single category that have gotten wise to how this stuff works. They're dabbling with listings and reviews and the SEO and the PPC and all that stuff. And it's just made it more challenging. In fact, I launched another janitorial company just 2 years ago. And the difference between launching that company 2 years ago and the other one 4 or 5 years ago, it's a very different ballgame in the exact same size market. And so it takes a lot of really talented people. It takes a huge payroll. We're running $1.5 million payroll right now, and it just keeps growing and growing. One thing, when you talk about niches and going after a niche and owning a niche, I've done that with various businesses, but with Wise Digital, I chose not to do that. I think the conventional wisdom for agency owners by former agency owners is that you got to niche yourself. You got to work with just, Montessori schools or just janitorial companies or whatever. But there's a lot of things I don't like about that. One, you're not protected against economic cycles, right? Because what if you chose just to work with mortgage companies? Like our number one vertical for the first 2 years of COVID was mortgage companies. And we kept winning awards. We were ranked so highly on Google for 8 or 10 different terms related to mortgage marketing and mortgage marketing agencies and nationwide focus and all this stuff that they just kept coming to us. But once interest rates turned, that business flipped upside down. And those businesses are 70 or 80% down over last year. So the foresight that we had was we know this was coming. So we just started doubling down on our accounting clients and our legal clients and our e-commerce clients and those types of businesses. And, so now we serve like 30 or 40 different industries. We have clients in 3 different countries. Our largest client is in Australia, trying to move into the US. We've got employees in 4 countries and 9 states. It's just, it turned global really quickly. And so, my plan for the business is, I'd like to, even though we're in 30 or 40 industries, there's a lot of those types of businesses that just come to us and find us because of the award-winning work and the breadth of services and the affordability of our business versus a competitor who's at our same level quality-wise, but much, much bigger, so they're twice the price. is really to focus on how can we dominate 10 industries? How can we define million-dollar verticals across 10 different industries so that, like when COVID hit, there, even though we had about 15% of our clients that were in businesses that had to completely shut down with COVID, the other 85% of our business either maintained or grew because of COVID, which allowed my team and my employees not have to worry one day about their job or their paycheck. It allowed us to go back to about 15 of our clients and say, hey, we know you're in trouble. If you haven't gotten any kind of government funding yet, we're going to take care of your marketing and your fees until you get that money. And so we were able to do things like that because we weren't so focused on one industry. We didn't have all our eggs in one basket.